be destroyed by
Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Daily Live Extra.
Still no striker. Yes.
Although Sky are reporting that we want a striker. So that's a development.
Step forward.
It's a development.
It's a step forward.
They also said that striker that we want is Che Adams,
who
immediately was told categorically he's not leaving Southampton. There you go. By Big Ralph.
To be fair, though,
Ralph.
they'll be looking at a few, won't they? There's not just it's if this summer's anything to go by. No, but what I mean is, most of the players we've signed haven't been an ongoing saga. No. If Garner signs, that will. But even then, have you seen that one today?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
he's free to you.
No. But have you not read?
I've not read the thing.
I'll read. So basically,
go on.
This is the Garner situation, apparently, right?
Yeah, go on.
So PSG sacked the fella, and then they brought him back this summer to do, and basically said, "You handle getting rid of all these players."
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah,
and he hasn't been able to shift one of them. And apparently, the sporting director at Paris Saint-Germain is absolutely fuming. Because basically he just said, just get rid of him. Just isn't a little easy job for the kind of jobs we'd give Ned. So they've got PSG Ned and said to them, can you get rid of these players? Dead easy. And he hasn't made to shift one of them because he keeps on changing the terms of the deals. And Paris Saint-Germain are like,
why is he
just get rid of them? And apparently so that's good for us.
So are Everton playing the long game then?
Well, apparently
Everton keep phoning the sporting director going, this fella's not very good.
So what's his name? I did have it before. I don't know. So the guy's name is Antero Henrich. And he's the former sporting director who's been working again with and basically his role is doing negotiations, and apparently so they're fuming with him, so that might speed things up. Herrera's been given a free transfer, so that might speed things up this week. They might just go to his favour lad, go and wash the cars or something, I don't know, so that might speed that up. But Sky, as I said, they've reported in the last hour. Sky have reported Chelsea are pressing forward on Anthony Gordon, Everton want a striker, and it's Che Adams. And then Hasselhoff said Che Adams is not for sale. But it wouldn't be a very good negotiation tactic if he said Che Adams was for sale. So who knows? But Everton have got a week.
Everton are obviously. Breuer's in the mix as well, isn't he? Let's be perfectly honest. Once Aubameyang comes in, I think that might be. Yeah. Because Everton are still in there, aren't they? Yeah. And I've been in there all summer, and you stay in there when you know there's a chance of it happening. But they want two, don't they? And if one or the other one is Che Adams or it's...
Although I did have a Memphis Depay update today.
Did you? Does he want to come?
He does. Apparently, he doesn't think Juventus is going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
So
why don't Everton just...
So, and apparently he's like, I would happily come to Everton. That's my Memphis Depay update.
Just get him in. He's good though. He's not crying. Anywhere across the three.
No, he's been fuming with Barca because they're dicking him about completely. Even though he played last night and scored, didn't he? So did Aubameyang and that for any with Man City. And he just wants out now, but there's no one on the table. I think he wants his contract cancelled as well.
Yeah.
Because of everything going on, the position he's been put in. So
hasn't David Moyes said this window's been unbelievable for greedy players and greedy agents? So it's such a difficult window.
And apparently, players that you could have had at the beginning of the window are now twice as expensive.
Yeah. You know that, don't you? So, that's what happens.
Because obviously we're at the end where everyone's panicking now, and we're one of the clubs.
And even clubs who've got players who they're not even that arsed about, but know you really want them, are going to be going, well, you can have them, but it's going to cost another. At
the end of the day, the financial situation across Europe is.
It hasn't recovered as if
it's still a mess, isn't it? It's still a mess. All these top clubs haven't got that much money or have look at the Real Madrid situation where getting rid of Casemiro. They probably didn't want to sell, but they probably just went 60 million quid for a 30-year-old. We'll have a bit of that. They've got all these up and coming players coming through.
They want Bellingham, don't they?
They'll go for Bellingham maybe next year. I mean, it's mad. But Everton have put themselves in the situation that they've left it late thinking, you know, this is where we'll get all the bargains, but I don't think there will be any bargains.
But do you think if the Gordon deal would have gone through like last week or whatever, with Chelsea would have gone 60 mil, and it was a deal that Everton were happy with?
See, this is what
we wouldn't have left it this
No,
late,
I know, and I'm not necessarily having a. I mean, I still find it massively
underwhelming,
infuriating that Everton haven't got a centre forward in the door. I still find that absolutely mad. As I said loads of times, what Lampard said last week is just mad. But I do think that I just think the transfer market's batty anyway. I just think it's mental. Because if you sell Anthony Gordon for 60 million, then you're paying over the odds for somebody else. It's an inflated market, and it doesn't need to be an inflated market. You could, the problem is because, and I suppose this is what financial fair play is supposed to solve, and this is where a salary cap would sort it all out is. Everybody's trying to chase the big, literally 2 or 3. Financially in the world, Man City and PSG, so they're all like, oh, we'll give you 60 for him and we'll give you 80 for him, and it's like, if you all agreed that actually he's only worth 30 million, so therefore he's worth 25 million and he's worth 15 million instead of doubling the prices, it would make more sense, wouldn't it? It's just a batty system, and until the day, and I don't think this day will ever come, that we actually agree what somebody's worth, like. And this is what's funny about the Anthony Gordon situation is nobody outside of Everton, and I don't think Everton can, well, Everton may be the only ones, can actually believe that Anthony Gordon is worth 60 million quid. It is nuts. The kid has done nothing in the game, and I say that as someone who, thinks he might have a good career. He has done nothing. He's done not. You could have got Haaland for £9 million cheaper. That's how mad it is. And
no, there isn't a real scale.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if Gabriel Jesus is going for like 45 million, say, who scores in the Premier League and has done for years. Raheem Sterling, he's a bit older, but 20 goals every year for City or something. And then and this is not just an Anthony Gordon. This is like Cucurella, 62 million. Wesley Fofana, 80 million.
That'll be 90, won't it?
Or 90. Yeah. It's like, hang on, let's have a I thought we were trying to get away from these numbers for every club.
It should be, said it a million times, it should be contract length versus wages equals something is what you're worth. That's what it should be. Or we have, and this would solve it in a very easy way. We do what Spain does, and we have buyout clauses. Dead simple. Dead simple. Solve all the problems. But like I've said before, or we said before, you'd have to relate that to a contract. You'd have to say,
because some of theirs are like 140 million. You're like,
no, I know, but you can negotiate down,
of course.
But ultimately, if there was buyout clauses, if you said to someone, "This is what we value at," so therefore, it's your value as a player is valued against your contract. Your contract, we've just give you the best contract ever for Everton Football Club. Therefore, if anyone comes knocking, you are worth 150 million quid. And they go, whoa, behave yourself. And they go, I tell you what, then we'll give you a contract worth half as much. And then you can be worth half as much to someone. What do you want? And then that would eradicate that Zaha situation, which is you want your cake and eat it. You want your 75 grand a week. But you want to leave.
50 grand a week, didn't
you want to, or 150 grand a week, but you want to leave. No. If you want to leave, then I tell you what, we'll give you 50 grand a week because you want to leave. So we want what you're worth. So you can't have it both ways.
It's difficult. I mean, it is difficult to come to. It should be. I agree. It absolutely should be, because then you'd have it closer to what players, not necessarily what players worth, because argue to people who are struggling to feed the family and all that a footballer's worth £100 million or £50 million or £30 million when he's just a human being kicking a bloody leather ball around the pitch for a bit.
He's still leather?
But are they leather?
I don't think they are leather anymore.
Whatever they are. So you're never going to get a true worth of what a footballer is, but there should be some kind of scale where you go, he's been capped this many times, he earns this much money, he's done this, scored this many goals, therefore he's on that band which is 50 to 80 million. Yeah. He isn't, and he's on a band where 35 to 50, and then do it like maybe, but I don't know how you'd get.
To me, though, that shouldn't be necessarily what his buyout should be. For me, I think it just, you're right. You go, someone go, right, you're 25. I want you to sign a 5-year contract. We value at this wage. You are the highest ever wage earner at this football club. Brilliant, love it here. We don't want to sell you, but
if someone pays 100 million,
someone pays like Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, that's the way to do it. 100 million quid. Villa get the money, and everyone's happy in a way, and that's the way to do it. If someone,
well, it would have eradicated Harry Kane with Spurs, wouldn't it? If they would have had like a buyout at 125 million or something, 150 million, City would have paid it, and he'd be a City player, wouldn't he?
And then, but then what that does as well is that gets rid of pointless negotiations where you are going through hoops. Like, and the player would be in a great position. And look at Shea Adams right now. Everton might want him, or do want him. Southampton are like, no, we want him. Well, that lad might be desperate to leave. So if he had a clause in his contract that says it was a 25 million clause, he could sit there right now and go, well, then give me a new contract then with a bigger buyout clause in, and I'll sign that. And you've got to give me double my money, and my buyout clause doubles, and we're all I'm happy.
Or he says to his agents, tell Everton to pay 25 million for me buyout.
That's what I'm saying. So
otherwise, there's no point. No, you're right in that. All of this edging towards the middle. They would eradicate it if you just went, listen, Anthony Gordon signed a 5-year deal. See, it wouldn't work with Anthony Gordon though, because where it might fall down is you have to get them to agree, right? So Anthony Gordon, Everton were looking at offering him a new contract, and I'd asked him a while ago, and it hasn't happened. He's not signed it. I don't know the ins and outs. He's not signed it. So therefore, he's not signed that new improved contract. So he's probably on a low contract. So his lower contract means that Everton can't really ask for £60 million.
That's the risk you take.
And that's why you have to reward.
And that's why I'm saying it's risk.
You might win on the front end and lose on the back end or whatever.
Or Everton last summer might have gone, we think you're going to be boss, so we're going to have to give you a new contract. And that's where the player wins. In the scenario, the player's never going to lose out, is he? The player's never going to lose
get
out.
His reward, isn't he? You're always going to get his reward.
I just think that's a simpler system. But
it needs to be,
and it might happen because if the Yanks start pushing for a simpler solution to these things, and they start, because let's be honest, right? At some point, the Americans in the game are going to start forcing themselves onto UEFA and onto FIFA. I mean,
wanting adjustments.
With the Qataris already have, hasn't he? The fella from PSG, by not signing up to the Super League, is now the head honcho at UEFA, isn't he? Or
well,
FIFA.
He's very.
That's what I'm saying. He's like the head of the. He's took the role that the Juventus fella had, didn't he, Agnelli? He's the head of the club's bit in UEFA, so he's got now power to make differences, and you can't tell me these Yanks who are becoming more and more influential in the game aren't going to try and they're going to understand at some point, well, if the Super League's not going to happen, we're going to have to put ourselves in a position where we can start making changes to the game and affecting things. And I think that's one of the things they'll look at doing, because the system in America is simpler. And also, I like Draft Day.
What a film. What a film. Just before we get into the footy, Mathew Barry says, afternoon lads, the Gordon saga seems to be coming to a close, looking like the club trying to line up deals ready to go. That wasn't the bit I was going for. On a separate note, our Flynn got 11 GCSEs today. Well, nice. Congratulations to Flynn Barry, and also, congratulations to all the other what's boys and girls who got GCSEs.
I don't understand them. So our Aiden sensors is, and it was like, he got a 7 and an 8.
They changed it all now. 9's the top one.
Is it offensive to get an A now? Is that what it is? Is it woke?
It is. What's nonsense is they changed it halfway. So our Mathew, when he was doing his A-levels, they changed the system halfway through. So it went from one thing to the other, and the teachers didn't know how to deal, how to teach to get to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we had to.
So for like 2 years, it was a fuck up, basically.
We had to get the scale before and work it all out.
It's bollocks. But the 9's the best and 1 is obviously the worst. So there you go.
Yeah. Fair enough, fair play.
But it all means nothing anyway.
Also, yeah, I was just about to say.
Well, don't get shit. I mean, it means things if you've got a real career path, but don't get sued.
But I don't like. I'll tell you what I don't like though. I don't like the way they put like the GCSE things on like the news and stuff. This year has been not as good as last year, and it's like, have these kids not got enough pressure on them? Like you're flashing GCSE.
I mean, let's be honest, they're not as intelligent as we were anyway.
I've got absolutely zero.
No, but they're not.
I've got nothing.
What they learn,
and I part own my own company. Thank you very much. So they mean nothing.
I seen a thing the other day was a thing of like 86% of millionaires.
Yeah.
Or millionaires, or one of them is self-made anyway through, and a lot of it's not through education.
Although I have got a BTEC in taxi driving, which for a lot of people probably think that is my level, but yeah, I had to actually get a BTEC.
I've got a degree? I'm still in sports and geography.
I had to get a BTEC.
So what my degree basically gave me was that ability to find the gym. That was it. That's what I took out of it. And a bit of journalism in there, but that wasn't the full thing. But there you go, it was all interesting, but none of it is worth school. It was worth nothing.
It is worth nothing unless you
really... It's a good time with you, unless you've got a... Sorry, let me rephrase that. If you've got like a career path, then obviously those doing well in that is really good, and you can link to where you want to go. Yeah. It shows that you've got... For employers, it's really good. He turns up, he does well. That's really good, but it isn't what people. No. It isn't the be all and end all. And so for people who haven't done as well, or
too much pressure on,
struggle a little bit with it, because some people, and I was like this, and certainly in school, was like exams. I just freeze a little bit on exams. It's fine if it had been caught and they changed some like coursework and being assessed over like a period.
And also, one thing I would say is like, and I don't know how different it is now, and it probably is a little bit different, but I imagine about 2/3 of our school, and me included, probably all had ADHD, and we weren't diagnosed. So you're asking all these kids to sit there, and they've all been in the tuck shop.
You go to school at the wrong time. Anyway.
You? You go at the wrong time.
If you went now, you go at the wrong time.
You go at the wrong time of your life.
No, that's what I mean. I don't mean like morning. I'm saying
mornings. Yeah. That's the worst
for you.
time.
For me, it was fine. But what I mean is, I'd love to be in school now, like learning the stuff, not for all that hours, but the stuff the knowledge, the history, the things that interest you now.
I learned more stuff through documentaries, the History Channel, the National Geographic.
No, of course. Of course.
You know, that kind of thing.
So join in later for the educational podcast or the life chat
there is
podcast.
Too much pressure on kids, though. It's like if you don't get this and you don't get that, it's like, chill out. There's loads of different ways to skin a cat. Yeah.
And the world's changing.
I've been saying to Aidan, my nephew, for the last 5 years, get a YouTube channel. That's the.
I keep saying it to Zach.
It's the way forward.
He's like messing around with them, but I'm like, when you're a little bit older.
Or learn coding or something.
Yeah, they're the ones, aren't they? Bitcoin.
No,
not Bitcoin.
Don't go
now.
there.
No, not now. I'm talking like you want the next thing, don't you?
These people pushing crypto.
Because we haven't got any. Gary Ward says, Hardy Tyler says, plain and simple, lads, no messing about. Is Gordon going?
I think he'll go.
Yeah,
I think he'll go.
I think there's been too much chaff and stuff going on for him not to go.
Do you think that Everton are trying to get themselves in a position where they've got like 2 or 3 literally like ready to come in the door? Because I think Frank's biggest fear would be him going and nobody coming in.
Oh, of course. It'd be all our biggest fear, because whether we can bemoan his output and say it needs to improve, and if he stays, it does anyway, and if he goes, it need to improve for himself. He's still a player who starts in our first team.
Mm.
So if you're taking someone out, and he's an attacking player with pace. So if you're taking him out the side of a team that struggles to create and score goals anyway, and then you're not really putting anyone in, then you are it. See, this is why I refuse to believe that they haven't got 3 or 4 or 5 things lined up and they're just waiting for things to drop in place, because there's no way people are that incompetent. There's not. And the signings that they've done this summer have shown that there is a plan there. There is, there's a rhyme and reason to the things that they're doing. are frustrated, and rightly so, and I would never tell any Evertonian they're wrong if they turn around and said, yeah, but we should have had a striker in. I couldn't disagree with any of that. But for them, from there, if you going full net and playing devil's advocate, then for them, like we've said many times, operating with a certain amount of money in restrictions, dealing. You've seen other clubs who are scraping now, there are other clubs going, I mean, look at Sarr. He's been on his way to 3 different clubs and none of it's happened, and he's still at Watford. So there's all kinds of things going on in the background, and Everton aren't as flush as other clubs, obviously. So if Chelsea come up with the favourable terms for the deal, and Everton accept it, you're right, Everton might be able to go then, right, yeah, there you go, whether it's United or PSG or whoever, there you go, whether it's Rent for Garassi or whoever it is, bang, 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 and then that's when you get the 3 in the door within a day or so, and everyone goes, oh my, yeah, we're ready, the season can start now because feel like we've got options at the top end of the pitch, and I feel like the midfield's more solid now, and you know, if Garner's gone in there or whatever it is, difficult for us sitting on the other side of it, just going, why is no one there? You're checking your phone, you're messaging people, you're looking, you know, for anything. You're checking news now, you're looking for anything that tells you that something's developed. So when it's quiet, and to be honest, it's good that it's quiet in one respect, but it's also the most difficult thing in the world, because even clubs who've got players have got good players and are doing well. Same thing with Liverpool, that they need 3, are they getting it? And Klopp's already said, we're done.
This is the reason, rightly or wrongly, I was quite happy when the transfer market closed before the season.
Yeah, it was way better.
And I know you could turn around and go, well, Dom got injured a week before and then the first 2 games of the season. So I understand that side of things. But for it to go on this long into the season, it's 5 Premier League games will have been played when that window shut, and you'll be very close to the 6th, which means if you do get someone in on that transfer day, they're not playing. They're not playing on the Saturday derby. Exactly. So that's
unless it's someone who, like, Che Adams could, like,
maybe, yeah,
he could go in. He's a Premier League.
But that's 6. That's 6 games.
Scary, isn't it?
It's a lot of games of football.
And this season is different, of course it is, but it is what it is. Toffee Chaz says, guarantee you no striker other than Rondon for the weekend. Jonathan says, would prefer to sign 2 players like Garassi and Diaz for 25 million rather than Che Adams. Too low risk deal.
I don't mind Che Adams at all. I don't mind him. I understand that he doesn't necessarily fit people's requirements, but I don't think that we are ever going to get, well, I don't say, not me never, but I don't think this market we were ever going to get someone who does fit those requirements. We are not getting a 20-goal-a-season striker, because nobody's getting a 20-goal-a-season striker. They don't exist anymore. You know, look at Chelsea. Chelsea going to Aubameyang. You know, the ones that, Arsenal paying 60 million for Richarlison, and he scores like 12 to 15 goals a season. That's where we are now in the market. So Che Adams is someone who works his bollocks off for you up front and creates openings for him and other people to exploit. And he can be a little bit of a poacher. We know he's not top level, but that's where we are at the moment. We're not getting top level. There you go.
Yeah. No,
press conference is 9:30 in the morning.
They just
good
flip,
stuff.
don't they? But still
Stuff.
good. Yeah, James says they do exist. They just play for all the good teams.
Yeah,
No, they
that's
do.
it.
That's the
it.
thing. Not that there isn't, because of course there is. But they're either at top teams, so getting them to come to Everton is a tough order, isn't it? It's a tough thing trying to do it when you're a side near the top at times. So getting it to come to us, where we're a little bit all over the place, is a very difficult thing. Very difficult thing. Where are we? RCO2 says, so I'm guessing the club hope to end up with Breuer on loan, Ben Burton, Diaz, Guy, and Kudus on loan. Don't know. Steve says, all right, lads, hope you're well. Baz, get your boots back on. Get up front on Saturday. I take it back now after speaking to you on Rondon is. Yeah, he's not. It's just not good, Steve, is it? He's not. He's a sub, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's a sub, and that's being kind to him. We need mobility. We need people to run in behind. We need people to be competitive. We haven't got that. If we get that, it'll change the team again, the way the team looks again. Marcus says we seriously can't be looking to spend 25 million on Che Adams, can we?
Why?
And Jay Taylor says, but we can expect 60 million for Gordon.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's put like crying face.
Exactly.
It's the market,
It's the market. If Southampton don't want to sell Che Adams,
who's the top scorer?
Yeah,
at
and
the
we
moment.
want a striker, and we like him. What's the difference? This is what I'm saying about. It's fine going, we're getting 60 million, but the market's bloated, so therefore you're going to have to pay 25 to 30 for if you want to pay for a striker, especially a Premier League striker. This is where the market doesn't make any sense, and this is why when people were saying take 40 for Anthony Gordon, I was like, no, wait for 60, 65, because these will pay it, because they're so desperate for him. They'll pay it. They've got it, so why wouldn't they pay?
Why is it dragging on then?
Terms, I imagine. Why aren't they putting in for Fofana? Why aren't they paying?
No, well, that's what I'm saying.
Brendan Rodgers just confirmed Fofana's going to miss the game with Chelsea this weekend because he doesn't want to play.
He doesn't want to play, yeah.
So therefore, why don't they just accept it? Because they know Chelsea, when it comes to push to shove, they will pay that money next week. They will pay it.
Brian's saying, I'm sure it's occurred to you if you get a striker or two in the midfield players, whether they're good, bad and different, they need time to bed in. And it runs on and on and on. As for Gordon, the cut-off points have to be this week. Stop letting Chelsea dominate the deal. This is crucial to what division we end up in. The team who's got the money won't pay what you want them to. What do we do? Everton walk away then and go, right, we're keeping Gordon. But there's no real money to get anyone else. We might grab a loan somewhere. Everyone would kick off then if there's no more money to spend, even though people knew there was no money to spend and we brought 5 players in. You can't really have it both ways. Sadly, the people with the money have got all the cards. Leicester are in the same boat, aren't they? With Fofana, Leicester might be going, we're not selling them for it. We won 85, sound. Games are going by each week, aren't they? Games are rolling on. Brendan Rodgers is under pressure. You know, centre-back not playing again this week. Chelsea beat them this weekend. He might be out of a job. You know, they had to get through on penalties in the Cup. They've not started the season brilliantly. So, everyone's in the same boat. I understand the frustration. I've said the same kind of thing. Just tell them they've got 48 hours or it's not happening. But they know that if they come back with a big bid, if Everton go, you've got till Friday noon, and if you haven't put the bid, we're not selling to you. Will Everton have the balls next Wednesday when they come back with 85 million or 80 million to go, no, we told you. Now, they did with John Stones a few years ago, granted. But would they do it now?
What about Brereton Diaz? There's quite a few people in the comments talking about him, you know, asking whether the PIV rates him. You know, there's been a talk today about him. 10 million.
10 million's not the end of the world, is it?
It depends, doesn't it, on your overall budget, I'd imagine.
It'd be probably up front of 3 or 4 million quid. It's not the end of the world, is it? If he's not good, I don't know. It feels like a settling player to me. But I don't know. I've not, and honestly, I haven't seen enough of him. I've not watched them closely enough. I've seen highlights of him. I've seen bits on Wisecout of him. I've seen bits where he's been, the Blackburn have been on, and I've watched a bit of the games. I've obviously seen his goals for Chile and stuff. I don't know. I'm not convinced, but that doesn't mean that he's not good or he can't come in and do a job for us. I just always think when someone's that cheap, why is there not half a dozen then lining up for him? Seems like West Ham need a striker. No, they've got some, but you know, they need someone who big. Leeds are looking for a striker because they're looking at trying to get Hwang out of Wolves for 20 million. Obviously, he's played for Jesse Marsh before.
Interesting.
I don't know. people in the comments might have seen loads of Ben Burton Diaz and think he can do it and he's good.
I think it's sometimes you do just get attracted by the numbers, don't you? He's done well, he's available. Everyone are looking on, well, why don't we just go and get him? And it's like, because he mightn't be very good. He mightn't actually be very good, or he mightn't just be the type of. Don't forget, this is again he's not a direct centre forward. He plays more on the left, doesn't he? For three, he's I've seen some of like heat maps and stuff, and he's predominantly on the left hand side, which is, I suppose, from what we had with Richarlison is what we need. But it's whether he's got the pace. Again, people are saying we haven't got any pace. What if this lad comes and you look at him, he's just like a big tree? You know, he hasn't got that pace that everyone's crying.
He hasn't got. I don't think he's got the Richarlison. I don't think he's cricket Richarlison. But I don't know. Phil says can't wait for this transfer window to be closed. It's absolutely exhausting. It always is. Yeah. It always is exhausting. And it's gonna be exhausting until we have a settled team and we only have to try and get 2 or 3 every window that are just on the top. And we've never got to that point because we don't keep managers long enough. So we're always looking and getting to the summer and going, we need another 6. We need another 6. And it's because we do buy the wrong players as well. Grim. It's grim, innit? Peter says Tom Davies injured, so we have no defensive midfielder in the squad, and it looks like another game of Rondon. How can a Premier League team have no striker and no defensive midfield player? That's the question I think everybody is asking, mate. Isn't it? Jay says, I'm still worried about how we'd spend the Gordon money. I fully agree with Ped yesterday about McNeil. We finally found a sizable chunk, and off we go and buy a player with no real attributes. Danny says, seen reports Tuchel has told the owner to get Gordon no matter what the cost. Like maybe makes you think maybe we should be keeping hold of him because he's a world-class coach. He's so young and has the ability to go buy players. I'm happy to keep him, but I'm also happy with the 60 million. But that's it, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? Is that in an ideal world, I'm not convinced most Evertonians will be looking to get rid of Anthony Gordon this summer. If we had a team, if we still had Richarlison and Dom, would we? If Dom fit, I mean, would we be looking to sell Anthony Gordon this summer? We wouldn't. No, we wouldn't. We'd be going. If we can get Garner, we'd be sound. Let's be honest. If we'd be looking for one more midfielder with this squad, we'd be happy. We'd be going. We'll be sound this season. Got Richarlison, Dom. We've got Gordon and Gray. There, McNeil's in the squad. As a squad player. No, but you know what I mean? As a squad player, and then you've got Onana, Garner, Decore, you'd be looking going, this squad's actually sound now. But we haven't got Richie, and Dom's injured. So there's a big hole in the squad and at the most important bit of the pitch. So that's why people are looking, and that's why people are looking at Anthony Gordon and going, 60 million? Really? 60 million? We could do stuff with 60 million. Yeah. It's tricky. It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. Let's be honest. Gareth says, "Hi lads, great show. I've said it from day one. If we want someone, should we just not wait?" Hang on. Should we want? Said on day one, if we want someone, we should just go and get him. Sorry, not wait till he starts scoring like Che Adams. We have to pay more. It's about the money, though, isn't it, mate? But I understand your point. That's the fear, isn't it?
Well, that's where good scouting now comes from, isn't it? And all the analysis and the analytics and everything. That's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to predict. You're supposed to have good people at your club who can predict where things are going to go. Now that used to be by the naked eye. Now it's by the naked eye and by the numbers. What people do, where they go, how do they fit into your system? Again, we both talked to Andy a lot about this, and you know, at places like Brighton, Potter doesn't get involved in anything. He says, "Get me a kind of player," and they get him a kind of player, and then he uses them, and that's the end of it. And it's that way of thinking that's has been starting to take over. But Everton still look like they've been thinking like an old traditional football club who's got money to throw around, and I don't think Everton should have changed over to that system ages ago. Maybe Brands was trying, but was prevented. But you've got to, and that's the thing with Everton, isn't it? People might go, well, he might come good, but then on the flip side, people might have looked at him and gone, I know Andy has, because that's sort of the level he looks at, and gone, I don't really think he's good enough. I don't, you know. So
it is a tough one. It's a tough one. No one's got the answer, because otherwise these lads would be playing for lots of. So I mean, someone's made a really good point. Nash EFC says, "I'm sorry, but there has to be someone in Europe for £25 million with more ability than Adams. Leicester and Brighton seem to find these kind of players. Why can't we?"
I think, again, it's that thing of there's a definite thing out there, I think, of, and I think we've seen this with Onana. You buy them the year before when they're not ready, and you pay £5 million. You get them the year after when maybe they are just about to be ready, and you're paying £35 million.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, isn't it? That's the fine line. Look, and that's where, again, I'll go back to Brighton, because I think they do it brilliantly. And I still think we should have got Potter and Ashworth. I think we should have got both of them. But what they do is they bring players in, and then they put them on loan for a year, and then they bring them in, and then they sell the fella before them, and they make their money, and they've got a player ready to go into the team. And that might not last forever, that system. That might just be a very short-term thing, but at least it's a system, you know. Or you might, you know, Lille, we spoke, I mean, there was someone Lille last week a lot, and some Onana and that kind of thing. Now, Lille won the league the year before last, and yet on Sunday they got beat 7-1 by PSG, because they've probably got rid of all the talent, and now they're trying to get the talent back through, and it's at a very early development stage. So, and obviously Paris Saint-Germain are a very good side, and can destroy you when the front three are doing what the front three are doing at the moment. You've got to have some kind of system. We are very, very clearly very, very early in our system, whatever it is. None of us can know what it is, because we haven't really seen the evidence of it yet. But it's just really tough being part of it.
Gotta just ride it out, haven't we? We've got to just ride it out. RLG says, Ryan says, "I'm just worried we haven't even replaced Richie, never mind Gordon and Dom's injury. This is the worst week of my life." Bloody hell, mate. You've had a good life then, as this is just the worst week of it. Just because Everton haven't got a striker. Willie says, "Get Hammers back now that Delhi's gone."
Oh yeah, get Bernard back as well.
Can't, gone.
That's a Greece.
Lions, he says, "Afternoon lads, Page and fellow Blues, with high level talks ongoing with Gordon. Do you think we are in high level talks about strikers? We need Breuer, Diaz, Adams and others. Good business is getting in what we need before Gordon leaves." You'd hope that was the case. Whether it is, I don't know. Jay says, "I used to watch Jay Adams when he played for my local semi-pro side, Oadby Town in Leicester." Fun fact, Phil Oakey is also from Oadby. So there you go. Phil Oadby. Richard says, "Afternoon, gentlemen and Ned, where would you rate Everton's transfer dealings so far on the GCSE number scale?" I'd say so far there are a 6 to 7. I would.
See, what I would say
is,
right,
but at the end I might be dropping back down to 3.
See, what I would say is, right, that they've got like a 9 on RE, and they've got like an 8 on PE, and they've got like a 7 on home economics, but like the English, maths and sciences, they've got like 3. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They've done really well on the things, some of the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a better way of looking at it.
But on like the big 3, they're struggling, like, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that
got to revise them.
They're the ones that get you the big stuff, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Unless you want to be a vicar. Do you know what I mean?
Do theology. Steve O says, "I think Everton holding out for Breuer move, but is he injured at the moment? And that might be holding the Gordon deal up. I don't know, but João Pedro's injured, torn his calf. He's out for 3 weeks."
Nice.
So there you go. Do you reckon he'll still go to Newcastle anyway? Sai says, "The difference with Leicester is they have strikers, we don't."
That is true.
Peter says, "How long has Gordon interest been going on for? Didn't they know about it before they sold Richarlison? Bad planning, not using the money from Richarlison to replace a forward. Also, why did Barcelona and Man City play friendly?"
Again, my source at Barcelona told me that basically there's a someone at Barca who Pep knows, who's been there for years, is ill, and basically Barcelona are so cheap that they wouldn't pay for him to get medical treatment or something. So they arranged the game with Manchester City to get the money to do it, because that's how cheap Barcelona are at the moment.
Well, at least they done it.
So,
Carl says if we hadn't spunked 20 million on McNeil, it'd be a lot easier to risk 10 million on Diaz. If Diaz adds up to nothing, then that's £30 million wasted, and we just don't have it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's always the gamble with recruitment, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. That's why when people say just go and get them, it's not as easy as that. You know, I don't watch Blackburn, so I've got no idea. All I see is how many goals he scored last year, and that can get you excited. But then you've got to ask the question: actually, what does he do? The Championship is a massive gap, but it's not always about. It's not always about, like, sometimes players come from the Championship and they haven't scored loads of goals, or maybe they have, but it's what their attributes are. Look at the kid at Brentford. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, Ollie Watkins came from Brentford, you know, and you can understand what his attributes are. He's pacey. He's got decent movement.
Yeah.
And he scores, again, he's in that 10 to 15 range, isn't he? So now you've got the other kid there, who's quite similar, big, strong, pacey, knows where the back of the goal is. But for long periods of the season, last season, he didn't score as well.
No.
Wasn't until Eriksen came in. So I think they're the attributes that really you should be looking at. I look at Bredon and I don't quite see those attributes. I think he's more of he seems quite I don't think he's got pace. No. I think he's one of those people that when he picks the ball up, he might travel with it well because but does that convey from the Championship to the Premier League? That's always
all athletes in the Premier League.
Exactly, and that's the big gamble, isn't it? And also you know your centre backs and your left back, your centre backs and your left and right back don't tend to be just these sort of big yard dogs anymore. No. They've all got a little bit about them, most of them anyway, and so it's
mad.
They've got to get it right, and that's the other thing.
Conlon says Everton are the ugly bloke on the dance floor waiting for the end of the night for the easier options. It's a great analogy. James
or had they just swipe him right?
James says ALS charity game was the Barca thing. Barca City. Gavin Johnson says Ben Brayton Diaz reminds me of Ashley Wood. Seem to remember he played for Blackburn, so he did, and City. Remember playing against Ashley Wood for Burnley. He was at Man City. Right. And he got 4 with the battered us 5-1. Great day. Yeah, so that's where we are. It's gonna rumble until Everton can pull something out the fire, and once they do, then hopefully, you know, and it might be the old ducks in a row. It might be that Anthony Gordon's the domino, and once that deal's agreed, Everton then can pull press the button on 2 or 3 deals. You'd like to think it was that, wouldn't you?
You'd like to,
but obviously, I mean, last week there was Kudus was coming, and Garner's been coming, and this player's been here, and that, and the ones that have just come out the blue tended to be the ones that have gone through. So you'd like to, you know, you want to stay ultra positive and say,
I think Alan B's got the most important shout of the day, though. He said, "What do you make of the new sponsor, Mark Darcy?"
Tremendous suits.
I thought we were signing a new. I thought we were getting Mr. Darcy to play.
Well,
for us.
you know, he's aggressive. He is, isn't he?
Okay.
You know, knows what he wants.
He does. Good. Loves coming from behind.
Loves you. There you go. It's all good.
Hopefully they'll offer us suits. Sit and do a show in
their
suits.
In a suit?
Just sit and do a show in their suits. You know,
for the Darcy reason?
Just
sense and sensibility.
Let's get sorted.
Well, that was Pride and Prejudice, Mr.
Well,
Darcy.
there you go. I mean, come on, don't mix shit.
I won't mix me.
Don't mix your
Jane Austen,
classic Austins.
Classic Austin. Classic Austin.
What about Big Dunk getting a coaching job at Real Madrid then?
It's incredible. He hasn't. Just for anyone takes that and thinks, they said he has.
No.
And he hasn't. No. He's gone over for educational purposes. It's good. That's good. It's what he should be doing. What he should be doing while he waits. So There we go. We'll see what we end up with. There's, you know, the clock is ticking.
Yeah,
is it next Thursday? It is a week to go, isn't it?
11 o'clock next
11
Thursday.
p.m. Oh my God.
I know. 2 games in between. And a Merseyside derby build-up.
Oh my God.
Hello, Ensley.
So you're not still throwing Ensley in there from 19-0 scratch, are you?
I can't bring myself to call it what it's really called, so.
The Ensley League.
Oh, right.
Bill Cummins says it all. Just get a forward in. Just get a forward in,
Just sign what someone will, yeah.
Maybe he will.
Where are you?
Where are you?
The Saints.
That's what, maybe that's thingy.
That should be,
Maybe that's
that should be the announcement deal. Just have Frank Lampard going, where are you?
I'm at the Saints.
Looking out the back, he's going, where are you? I'm here. Where? I'm here.
That picture,
Where
yeah,
are
the
you?
thing you sent me yesterday. That was amazing. Give that brochure a call again, lad.
Bell brochure, lad. Bell brochure back, lad.
I'm at
Incredible.
Incredible.
There you go.
Keep smiling, everybody. I'm sure we'll get something from somewhere.
Right, my watch is telling me that I need to go and have a walk, so
there you go.
We'll be back at 5 o'clock on Toffee TV Premiere. The match preview will be available on YouTube at 3 o'clock. So there you go.
Yeah, see you later.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.